Welcome to Nugget 46 with Steve Groman. Steve, yesterday we did an experiment about the inverse square law. We want to expound on that today. Tell us what the inverse square law is.
They say the two bodies have an attraction to each other. They use it mainly for the planets and the gravity is what they say. But evolutionists say that the inverse square law, two bodies have an attraction to each other. The degree of the attraction is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. If you half the distance, you quadruple the attraction. If you double the distance, the attraction is 4 times less. But in addition to that, so is the apparent size, and so is the apparent luminosity, the visual light that you can see from.
In Nugget 45, we did the luminosity test on Owens Lake. The inverse square law is really important in photography and stage lighting, isn't it?
When I do interviews, they want to make sure I'm in the exact right place in the studio because that's where the light is. And if I'm too far away, it's dull, and if I'm too close, it's bright. It matters, and just a little bit of distance makes a huge difference.
Right, and that's one of the best ways to show that law is to use lights. So let's do the inverse square law that has to do with the distance. Is that what the physical quantity, or what is this one called?
The point with the car we had done on Owens Lake on Nugget 45, and the same with this one we're doing now, shows that the apparent size of something is smaller at distance and smaller at more distance. And that comes into real importance here at the end of this nugget.
All right, so we did this one on Old Highway 395 north of Independence here in California. And here's a picture of our Tahoe from 10 feet away.
And here it is at 1/2 of a mile, and now at 1 mile. Back at a half, and back at 10 feet. And if you notice when the video is zoomed, notice how grainy it is because it really has to get quite zoomed up in order to see it at 1 mile.
Right, you can, if you have the proper lens, binoculars or camera.
You can pull it back in, but yes, you have to have some kind of piece of equipment.
Right, our eyes can't do that.
Correct.
So let's move on to stars and why this is important. Tell us a little bit about the star sizes.
Evolutionists have a problem with the star sizes because they say that because we can see the stars, if they are what they say they are, and if they are where they say they are, they show how they have to be huge. In fact, some of them are almost 3 billion times larger, they say, than our sun. Well, I just find that preposterous. I find that hard to believe, number one, but also the most luminous item that they have found in the night sky is, they say, 5 million times more luminous than our sun, which sounds like a lot, and it is, but when you realize that some of these stars are 2 and 3 billion times larger than our sun, that doesn't make any sense either.
Well, that's what they say, at least.
That's what they say, right. Correct. I just say that I believe there's no such thing. It's impossible for them to be that way based on what the Bible says.
And the inverse square law.
If we can see those stars, and they are where they say they are, they have to be that much larger in order for us to see them, that much brighter so that we can see them.
Let me read a little bit of this article that you referred to from Scientific American, January 2014. The problem with star sizes. The most devastating argument against the Copernican universe was the star size problem. When we look at a star in the sky, it appears to have a small, fixed width. Knowing this width and the distance to the star, simple geometry reveals how big the star is. In geocentric models of the universe, the stars lie just beyond the planets, implying that star sizes are comparable to that of the sun. But Copernicus's heliocentric theory demands that the stars be extremely far away. This in turn implies that they should be absurdly large, hundreds of times bigger than the sun. Copernicans could not explain away anomalous data without appeals to divine intervention. In reality, the stars are far away, but their apparent width is an illusion, an artifact of the way light behaves as it enters a pupil or telescope, behavior that scientists would not understand for another 200 years. I'm wondering if they understand it now.
That's exactly right.
That paragraph's got a lot of contradictions in it, doesn't it?
It really does, and there's a lot that can be said on that.
But what does God say? It really puts a monkey wrench in
Well, it does.
That,
one of the two, either the Bible's true or these current ideas are true, because the interesting thing is God says that He made the greater light, the lesser light, and He made the stars also. Another thing, evolutionists say that our sun is a star, but that's not what God calls it. He says He put the sun, moon, and stars in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. They were put there for a purpose for us.
And he repeats that even 2 verses later.
Yes.
And isn't there something about stars falling in Matthew 24?
One or the other is right. One or the other is not right. And since we know thy word is truth, we know that one is right, and we know it's forever settled in heaven. The Bible says in actually several places that stars are going to fall to the earth. If these stars that we're seeing are what they say and where they are, and they are as large as they say they are, there's no way they can fall to the earth. They would wipe it out before they ever get close.
How would they even hit this little speck?
And
how long would it take to get here?
Yeah, no kidding. It just makes no sense if we try to compromise what evolutionists say with what the Bible says.
It's actually Matthew 24:29, and it says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken." Well, I would think if the stars are falling, the heavens would be shaking, wouldn't you think?
That would be true.
And then again in Revelation 9:1 we read, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit."
Notice what it says. I saw a star from heaven fall where?
Unto the earth.
Unto the earth.
And that's
the
where the
stars
lights
are falling to the earth.
And that's where God said the lights are upon
the earth,
stars,
to give light upon the earth is what it
moon.
says. The point of these experiments were just to show clearly that we take things for granted sometimes, and we just assume if science says it, so-called, we believe it. We need to always square up everything with what is the Bible talking about? What does it have to say? Because thy word is truth. There might be some true things. We love science, but evolutionary science is ridiculous. There's no such thing, because evolution could never have happened, so therefore I would never want to compromise anything God says with anything that they say.
Basically, what we did was take the inverse square law, use our truck, turn on the headlights, back up 1 mile to show that the light diminishes.
To the point you can't even see it.
Right, and drive back.
But if those headlights all of a sudden were 2.59 billion times larger than they are in the first place, then we could see it.
Right, and but
That's
they'd
what
be
it would
super
take.
blinding.
Right, because that's what it would take in
where
order
they
to see
were.
them back at that distance.
When they came back to
But
you.
reality says that's not true.
If they were that big and that bright, they would have wiped you off that
It'd been kind of rough up
lake bed,
close.
right? And then the other one on the sides, you just can barely see the Tahoe at half a mile, and you really can't see it at a mile.
At 1 mile. Can't see it at 1 mile. You have to zoom in to see it at all.
Go do your own inverse square law experiment.
It's fun.
Math can be fun.
It absolutely can.
If you are enjoying our nuggets, please consider supporting us on a monthly basis as we continue to search out more about God's wonderful creation. Keep watching our nuggets. And while you're at it, tell 10,000 of your closest friends about our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, hit that little bell, and tell others about our YouTube channel. Thank you.